So hello and welcome back everyone again. This is another quick update because we got things working again. You'll see I have two icons now that look kind of similar to the ones that I had before, but they actually work how they should now. I just need to fix tiny things, like the fact that I need to be within a certain range for this, but apparently not working the way that it should do there. So part of it is, part of it isn't. I need to fix this again. I'll probably get some help from one of the people that's coaching me on how to do blueprints, but at least now I'm not doing this the janky way that I was doing it before. It takes a little bit more effort this way, but it's the proper way of doing it. So we've got an E key here, and when we move away from it, it fades out, and then we move closer, and bang, it's there. So we can walk past, and eventually it will fade out. I might do the fade out so it fades out a little bit quicker, but then we've taken out some of these other bits that we could move around, mainly just because they were giving me some random errors, so I just wanted to get rid of them. I'm gonna have to add that key thing to the door here because it's inconsistent. The original creator of this whole scenario that I'm modifying made that come up there on the handle, so instead I'm going to put my own one on using that system so it'll be consistent throughout. But everything's working a little bit better now. Like I said, I have to fix everything, but I was doing everything a little bit janky. What I was doing before was, if I show you here, I have this as a cube, which is from the demo level, and it works exactly how I wanted it. So what I was trying to do was just attach it to the top of the flashlight here, and then make them both disappear. Again, a really cheap way of doing it, but then when I thought about it, if I wanted to like have any extra options, it would just affect everything that it was attached to. So for instance, because that's using the main blueprint, if I was to attach it to like all these objects and then just press E, they would all just vanish immediately at the same time instead of individually. So that's a bit of a problem. So now, like I said, I've got to do that individually in the blueprint system for each one, and then apply them to each item. So like for this one, I've got to then include it in this item, and then go around and all the pickups basically, and all the interactables. Not too much, but enough that it's going to be a little while before I get everything running, but at least as a test bed, this is pretty cool. So I'll go into this now and show you a little bit about how this is working. So the way that this works is that it is a bunch of variables set up that are way more complicated, that control all the little features, like the on the bottom left here we've got the icon, opacity, the size and everything. And beforehand I didn't know how to expose a lot of this. It was the devs that give me a hint on the main Unreal page. So if I flick through here and go to, what was it, get icon visibility, I think it was, there we go. So they had their own setup in this section, not icon opacity. They had like their own individual float that would animate. So what I did was I just grabbed the custom visibility node that they've got here, activated it, and then made my own float variable that would then be pulled from that, which I can then call in the event graph, so that when we like go through and go through the whole pickup process, then we destroy the actor. Well, when we destroy the actor, that also destroys the icon and turns the visibility of the icon to 0. What we do is we get a reference to the opacity that I made back there, and then we have the settings for that get called. So at the moment that you have it until you pick it up, the opacity is 1, so it's clearly visible, and then we minus 1 from that, and because we take 1 away from 1, we end up with nothing. So what ends up happening is it gets set as 0, and the icon itself just disappears after that. So I'm really happy about that. It means I can go up to it, or rather it should work. It doesn't work fully as intended at the moment. I need to now work back from that and figure out what the hell I've done to make it so that it reacts even when it's not in the trigger volume, because I can just pick that up now and boom, apparently I have the flashlight. It doesn't work because I'm not inside the trigger volume. It just deletes the actor. So I've skipped a phase there, and it's picking it up when I'm not in the trigger volume now, which is stupid. It needs to be like when you enter the trigger volume, it casts there and says, neat, a flashlight, giving you a hint. Then you pick it up by looking at it and just pressing E. It's not even doing that properly there a little bit. But we go up to it, we press E, and now we got the flashlight. And that's what I'm supposed to do for all of these other pickups. Like you walk up to it, you press E, and you've got the key card now. So if we go into this area, that with the key card in hand, then activates a level blueprint that says, look, trigger this cutscene when you're in that area with a key card. Only do it once. Then of course we've got the batteries here for the flashlight, of which I'm just going to leave those lying around and have like no pickup icons on them whatsoever, so kind of like the things on the desk here, you can just pick them up. The idea is I'm going to give the player hints, or rather just give them like a tutorial and say, look, you can pick things up with the left mouse button and throw them with the right mouse button, and then just leave it at that and have players mess around and, you know, sort of do this, throw objects all around, make as much noise as they want, make as much mess as they want, and it's all down to them what happens. And of course everything makes sounds, so I've got to potentially fix that to make sure that even though it hits and creates a sound, maybe try and figure out one way that it only creates one sound when it bounces. Or maybe you only do like certain amounts of them beforehand, otherwise it's just going to keep rolling and making sounds. I just want it to reset after making maybe like 3 sounds. Then of course we've got the new feature here, which is the UV lamp I showed off before. I'm going to be doing that a lot more in terms of messing around with that and adding these new features in and seeing how they work with everything else, because I really want this to be out of alpha soon. Technically in the bottom corner I should make this 2.1 now, but when I've worked out all the bugs I'll do that. But anyway, what we're going to do is show you the only thing that's rigged at the moment to work the way that I want it to. This rod here, the UV rod, at the moment I tried giving it physics and everything else. For some strange reason there's something wrong with the asset that I got from the store, so I messed around with it. What I did was I've got an actor hidden that's right on top of it. As you'll see it, or rather as you won't see there, it's hidden, but what it actually is I've gone ahead and got one of these Coke bottles here and just threw it over the top and attached it, so it uses the same physics as the Coke bottle, and then just made it hidden in game. So what you end up with is instead of it having errors and falling through the geometry, it just has the same physics, so it allows me to pick it up, it allows me to wave it round and throw it, and there we go, it works fine. So that's an easy way around it. Because before I was picking it up and it was weird. It was like I was going up to it and I was like, oh, I'll just pick it up. So I'm picking it up, and as you can see, I can kind of wave things around a little bit, and it's kind of loose, but I don't mind it. And it was just flying around on its own. It wasn't kind of holding still like this. It was just floating around in circles and doing all kinds. It was really weird. I wish I'd recorded it now. But instead of working like this, it was just, and slowing down, it was just going crazy like this all the time without me even moving the mouse. So it was just going round and round and round and really weird. So I decided I'd fix that by doing a quick mini fix on it, and it worked. So I'm happy about that. So we'll just throw that somewhere. There we go. So yeah, I'm happy about that so far. It's going okay. Like I said, just mini fixes. In terms of the only other stuff that I want to add at the moment, I want to keep it simple. I want to include keypads for certain areas and padlocks, of which I'm eyeing some stuff up in the store again that will hopefully be useful to me. Because I don't like buying tons of stuff from the store. I like normally looking at tutorials and finding out how to do it myself, or if I can, just create it for myself from scratch. But of course there's some things that you need help with, so that's where the store comes in. I don't mind giving to other devs as long as the stuff actually works. But yeah, then after that, then all of this will after being in the demo area will then get transferred into the main level. Then I'll be in beta. Oh, no, sorry, not beta, sorry, I'll be in pre-alpha. Not pre-alpha, just alpha. I'm jumping the gun here because I'm trying to talk so fast and get everything in within a certain amount of time. I'll be in alpha build then. Currently pre-alpha is getting the feel for things, working on the mechanics, and then actual alpha is going in, tweaking things, making changes gameplay-wise, and actually setting up the test level, or test levels depending, coming up with the different scenarios that I want players to interact with, and then throwing it to the testers and just being like, look, test this, make sure it doesn't break too much, and then going back and checking and making sure everything works, because so far this in pre-alpha I've just been trying to get the mechanics down as much as possible to see if they'll work, and then make them work in the context of a level editor, or rather a level designer, so that when you come to make the levels, or like when I come to make the levels, it's just easier for me, because I just want this to be a really fun time, and most of the editors that I've used in the past are literally just throw everything in, do a little bit of work here and there, maybe an hour's worth of work, and it just works. That's what I want it to be like with Unreal Engine, but it's taken a while to get there. So yeah, there's been some fixes, and I'm enjoying it. I couldn't get this to work. Oh crap. Apparently it's doing that cutscene again, even though I didn't have the keycard, so again, that's another problem for me. Maybe it's because of how it's coded at the moment. Like I said, I'm going to get help with this, so it should be fixed by like a couple of days' time. This I couldn't fix, so that kind of stays like that at the moment in terms of throwing stuff off the desk. I may have to figure something else out, or maybe just have it sort of underneath everything and not have you be able to interact with it, just have it like that, you know, it's just on the desk and you just look at it, like in Resident Evil, where you can just see like small details in first person. Because it's first person, should be fine, not too bad, but I would have liked it to have an inspect feature. I do have an inspect feature that I can get from the base blueprint, or rather the base blueprints that were made and put into the pack that I'm using as a base level of coding. But the problem with that is that, apart from the AI walking around here in the background, let's get rid of that. Apart from the fact that it's not my code, so I don't know exactly what it does. The other problem is I tried messing around with it before, and trying to get those features to work for me was a little bit awkward, so I might have to either build that from the ground up, or just leave it out completely, or maybe figure out some other way of doing it. Either way, we've got most of the base level stuff done now. I can't wait to get this into alpha. I'm really excited. Next thing, obviously after the fixes, we'll be trying to implement the padlocks and the pin codes for doors. Once those are done, then I'm in alpha, hopefully after all the bugs are worked out, or rather the mechanics are worked on to a point where I don't think there's any bugs. Alpha's going to be so much fun. It's just going to be level designing, throwing stuff in, testing out the AI, so I can't wait for it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.